Yeah, Friday! You have reached episode 69 of the Ranting Weight Watcher. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If the podcast app you're listening on allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating. Any rating is greatly appreciated. Here we are, just a few days away from Christmas. Are you guys ready? All your shopping done? I'm all set and ready to go. So let's not hold anything back. Let's get into this. Journey updates. Okay, guys, not a great week this week. I am up 0.8 of a pound this week, so 0.8. For the month of December, I am up 0.6 total. And total since January 2019, I am down 137.4. The distance remaining to get to the milestone of 150 is 12.6 pounds. Pounds remaining to get to the milestone 175 is 37.6 pounds. And the pounds remaining to get to our big goal of 200 pounds is 62.6 pounds. So, not a great week. You know, it's been a rough few months here, and it's starting to get annoying here. So, last week, I brought up something that I've done previously in the beginning of my journey, and it seemed to get a pretty good reception. So I figured, you know what, I might do it again, but this time share it with you guys. I talked about making a list of barriers. What are your barriers, I said, of all the things that hold you back from getting you what you want out of life. So I'm gonna do that today, go over my barriers with you guys, and then maybe we'll touch on a little bit about my plan to at least start tackling the barriers for 2022. Because by the time you guys hear this, you know, I have physical barriers and I have mental barriers. And I separated them as such. I broke down the barriers on a core level. So I went down as deep as possible to the barrier. I'm not giving you just a surface level barrier. Now, what do I mean by a surface level barrier? A surface level barrier of, let's say, of the journey would be, oh, I don't track the food I eat. I don't weigh and measure the food I eat. Those are barriers, right? And so the next step would be why? Why don't you? And you keep going and asking these questions to yourself until you dig deeper and deeper and deeper to get to the core of what this all leads to, this behavior all leads to. Part of that reasoning for that is to battle, if you battle the core, then you affect more than one thing, if you could understand. My physical barrier, as my right knee, I have arthritis, and I also have some pain going on in my right hip. But I think that's getting to the point because of the limping I do because of the knee, I am now affecting my hip in the process. I also feel like I have an issue with attention span. I plan to work on all three of these things in this year. I will get into that a little later, as to which one I'll do first and, so on. Now, I want to also tell you about the mental barriers I face. Now, some people may not agree with any of these, but I know myself at a core level here. I battle with laziness at levels that make me crazy sometimes. And so how does laziness affect my journey? An easy, for instance, is when COVID began, I stopped going to my trainer. And this was largely in part because my hours got cut at work. and couldn't really afford to keep going to the trainer. So my answer to this would be to buy as many of the items as I regularly used with the trainer and then use them. So I bought battle ropes, dumbbells, kettlebells, a weighted ball. I think they call that a medicine ball. I bought cones. Well, I already had a step aerobics thing. And I bought resistance bands. I bought all of these things because these were the most common things used with the trainer. And for the life of me, I have them. I own them. They're in a large duffel bag. And I am too lazy to go into the storage closet to pull out the duffel bag. So everything that's in the duffel bag never gets used. This is why in the consistency challenge, when I said I would do a kettlebell workout, it's because the kettlebell was the only thing that wasn't in the duffel bag. That's how deep laziness runs through me. Everything in my house is voice activated. I just tell an Amazon device to do something and it's done. What do you think? I mean, it took a whole lot of work to do that, but the core of the reasoning for putting in all that work was laziness. The idea that someone left a light on upstairs and I was too lazy to go up to turn it off, and being able to tell a smart home device to turn off upstairs appealed to me. And the same thing goes for everything that's controlled by it. All born out of laziness. Another thing I deal with is fear. Fear of success, specifically. Now, how does fear of success affect my journey? There's always the thought of, well, if I achieve this, what will they expect of me next? If I do what I say I'm going to do, what is going to be the next expectation? Now, some of you out there is probably thinking, that's just insanity. Who thinks like that? And I would argue that there are a lot more people that think like me in their own mind. They may never say it out loud, but they think like that in their mind. Because of the fear, we're going to get a little psychological today. Because of the fear of success, the mind, and I have said this 1,000 times, and I truly believe it with every fiber of my being. The mind is a very powerful thing, and we only control a small portion of its true power. And the things we say and the things we do give birth to future outcomes in our life, and we'll never truly understand the magnitude of the power that we have in our mind. Now, for someone who fears success, you might see them approach a weight loss journey with every intention of doing the right thing. For example, every time I ever began a weight loss journey, not just this time with Weight Watchers, but every time before that, whether it was Weight Watchers, whether it was Herbalife, all the things I ever tried, there was always a certain point. Usually it was the 20-pound mark. Don't ask me what it is about 20 pounds. Maybe losing 20 pounds gets to the point where people notice. People would notice that I lost the weight and they say, hey, you're looking pretty good. What's up? What are you doing? They'd start asking questions. And it feels good when people notice. I mean, we've all been there. Let's not lie here. When people notice your hard work is paying off and they compliment you on it, it feels good. No doubt about it. Every time for me, it happened to be around this 20-pound mark. I don't know what it would be, like a switch in my mind or something like that. But hearing the people, hearing the feedback would make me relaxed, and self-sabotage would kick in. Oh, I lost 20 pounds. I have the right to go out. Everybody says I'm doing so great. I have the right to go out to eat and make a couple of unhealthy choices. I'm not telling you it's bad to do that, but I'm telling you it's bad to keep doing it over and over and over again, and it will reverse everything that got you to that point in the first place. And this was a hurdle of mine, program after program after program. I would lose 20 pounds. People would start complimenting me, and the, powers of the mind would seek to correct the problem. The problem being, I was changing my life, and bringing it back to status quo was the mind doing whatever it was going to do, bringing you back to average so you can live up to what you truly believe you're capable of, or what you truly think that others think you're capable of. Because somewhere in between what you think you're capable of and what others think you're capable of are what you end up being, unless you use the power of your mind to do things differently. I'm going to get into a few more of the things based in fear that I deal with, but first we're going to take a break. I'll be right back. So I wanted to do something special because it's the podcast before Christmas for the breaks today. So here it goes. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough. And have yourself a merry little Christmas now. A Merry Christmas to everyone from the Ranting Weight Watcher and family. I love you all. God bless. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Someday soon, we all will be together, if the fates allow. So just hang that shining star above the highest bough. And have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas. And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So before the break, we were talking about what I feel are my barriers. And I was in the barrier of fear. And there's a couple other things I fear. Success is just one of them. Another thing I fear is I fear becoming overconfident again. There was a time where I was starting to feel like I was above everything going on, like in the workshops, I was above it. In the studio workshop, whatever it was, virtual versus studio, I was above it all. I had achieved too much success to talk about the normal everyday struggles. Almost like, that doesn't bug me anymore. I'm above that. I can't, almost like I couldn't relate to the problems other people were having anymore. And this led to being bored or thinking the workshops were useless. I got scared of feeling this way. This is when I thought I need to do something to make myself accountable somewhere. The podcast that you're listening to is evidence of me battling the overconfidence I was feeling at the time. So we're talking about August 2020 is when I started. I really feel that part of my success is being able to keep in touch of who I used to be and not forget that. Not forget what I went through. Not forget that I was 460 pounds and in 1 year went from 460 to 277 and then wasted the next 15 years going from 277 to 396. I can never allow myself to forget that I did that. Another thing that plagues me, not just in Weight Watchers, not just in podcasts, but in life, procrastination has been something that plagued my entire life. Because there's fear, procrastination is the next level. It's the next thing. And you use every excuse in the book. And the perfect example of how procrastination has affected my life is the podcast itself. The equipment that I use to record this podcast every week. It was all purchased just after the new year, January 2020, somewhere around there, January, February 2020. And the very first podcast was released August 27th, 2020. So in, 6 months' time? Yeah, 6 months' time, all that was happening was procrastination. Why was I procrastinating? I was procrastinating because of fear, thinking in my head that it could be perfect on the first try. Anybody who can pull off sounding like that on the first try, perfect, having a perfect show on the first try, must have been practicing for God knows how long. But I allowed procrastination, the fear of getting it right, not messing it up, hindered me greatly in the podcast alone. Fear is also hindering the branching out into going live. I told you when this podcast first started, my dream is to have a live call-in show where people could call in and talk about what struggles they're having, whatever it may be, whatever kind of support they might need, whether it's just someone to vent to, whatever it is about the journey, be angry at a scale, yell, scream, and go crazy for a few seconds, and so they could let it all out. It was my dream to have something like that. And now I have no excuses. I have all of the equipment I need to go live. The final thing just got delivered to me, the green screen, to make it really nice, to make it really polished. And yet, the same fear that caused procrastination to prolong the launch of the podcast is hindering the real takeoff of the live show. I've done a couple of practice things here and there. For whatever reason, I don't feel like I'm ready. I don't know what it is, voices in my head, whatever it is. It's like an extreme fear that I'm going to mess it all up. And somehow in my head, like I can't just not do the live and say, okay, go back to doing the podcast. If you mess it up that bad, go back to just the podcast, right? But this is the battle that's been going on in my head. So fear has hindered the growth of the podcast and has hindered the start of the live show. And procrastination is stemmed, they're like together. Procrastination comes from the fear because of how afraid I am to do something and make it sound like, I don't know, like I'm actually inexperienced, because I actually am inexperienced. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about some things that I want to do to battle these feelings. Some plans that I have. And we'll talk about Christmas and what's going on for that. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. For the second break today, I wanted to sing one of my favorite all-time Christmas songs. I didn't understand the true impact of the words of this song until I was much older in life. When I was a kid, this was just any other Christmas song. One day I heard it as an adult and just realized what the words really mean. Come, they told me, param pam pam pam. A newborn king to see, param pam pam pam. Our finest gifts we bring, param pam pam pam. To lay before our king, param pam pam pam. Ram pam pam pam, ram pam pam pam. So to honor him, pa-ra-pam-pam-pam, when we come, little baby, pa-ra-pam-pam-pam, I am a poor boy too, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam. I have no gifts to bring, pa-ram-pam-pam-pam, that's fit to give our king, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam, ra-pa-pam-pam, ra-pa-pam-pam. Shall I play for you, pa-ram-pam-pam-pam, on my drum? Very nodded, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam. The ox and lamb kept time, pa-ram-pam-pam-pam. I played my drum for him, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam. I played my best for him, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam, ram-pam-pam-pam, ra-pam-pam-pam. Then he smiled at me, pa-ra-pa-pam-pam, me and my drum. And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So, what do we do next? Now that we've listed everything that we feel hinders us, what do we do next? The plan of action. How are we going to tackle fixing these things in our lives? When I first started this journey, I didn't exercise. I lost my first 50 pounds just making good food choices. I knew that I would not make my second 50 pounds without exercise. So I made small changes in my life, made those changes consistent, and built on them. The same way I did that is the exact same way we have to fix the barriers in our lives. Small, lasting changes over long periods of time will make the barriers disappear. These barriers are not going anywhere tomorrow. You didn't develop them yesterday. You're not getting rid of them tomorrow. The same way you didn't put the weight on yesterday and you're not taking that off tomorrow either. These barriers in your life have been deep-rooted for many, many years, whether you think so or not. If you take the core behavior of everything I listed for you, that core behavior, everybody's got them, and it affects many things in their life. I just took a word like laziness and show you how it affected my weight loss journey, or the podcast journey, or the live journey. These same behaviors, procrastination, laziness, fear, these same things can affect many things. I mean, if you're lazy and you don't want to clean your house, what happens to the house? The house gets dirty. So these deep-rooted behaviors are what actually need to change. And it'll affect everything else going outward. So my plan of action coming up here. We're going to take one of these problems at a time. And the first, because of the physical limitation, I want to take care of in January. I want to find an orthopedist and aggressively seek a total knee replacement. If there's one thing hindering my journey, it's my knee. I can't walk faster than 19-minute mile. I just can't do it. The other day I walked and I picked a really fast music. There was one moment where the Fitbit chimed in and said I was at an 1858 or 1857, and I thought it was this tremendous accomplishment. However many minutes it took to get to the next mile, and she made the next announcement, I was at 1920. So it was short-lived. Short-lived. And this knee, and now because of the way I'm walking to favor the knee, my hip is an issue too. Since I got the other day or last week or so, I got new Brooks sneakers. I love the Glycerin 19 sneaker made by Brooks. I've tried on a number of their sneakers, and the Glycerin 19 is by far like walking on a pillow of air. But anyway, with the new sneakers, yes, the knee pain has alleviated. But the correction that the new sneakers cause also cause soreness on the other parts of the body. Right ankle, right hip, and right knee are killing me for like the last week and a half. I need to do what I need to do to fix this knee. In January, I will start searching for a good orthopedist who is recommended, stuff like that. I will go to that orthopedist after my final follow-up for the prostate, and start to pursue what they want me to do for a total knee replacement. Because I need for a new knee for sure. And I want it done. And I want the relief, and I want to be able to run. I want to be able to take it to the next level, and I will not be able to do it with this knee. And I don't know if both knees are going to need it, because God only knows what I've done to my left knee by trying to favor the right knee. Because the right knee has been a problem the entirety of this journey, and I'm approaching the 3-year mark. So 2.5 years, come January 12th, it'll be 2.5 years that I have been favoring the right knee and abusing the left because it's the strong one. Another thing I plan to do, because of the little procedure I had with the prostate, I was told to not exercise for however many days. Okay. When I went back to exercising, I went back to walking only. And at the time, in my consistency challenge group, I had been doing kettlebells. I never went back to doing kettlebells. And part of that has been favoring and not allowing myself to do too much too quickly because of the movements involved and the soreness I felt during the time period. But really now I can go right back into the kettlebells, and I haven't. So the plan is to get back into the kettlebells. And I'm recommitting to 3 times a week for 4 weeks. But that is the plan. Those are the first 2 things I want to tackle going forward into going back into the kettlebell and into the new year with the knee. Now, we are days away from the final round. Well, for me, it's the final round because I don't really do anything for New Year's. I don't go out and drink and party on New Year's Eve. So those empty calories taken in from the drinking that happens on that won't affect me. So Christmas Eve and day is really the last part of my holiday round until my birthday, January 4th. So that I'll have this little reprieve because New Year's Day won't affect me that much. January 4th, I believe, falls in the middle of the week, so we'll probably do something the weekend after. And that's where we'll go from there. It won't affect me. It'll be a distance between the two is what I'm saying, between Christmas. It won't be so close like it was last year. Everything felt really close and smashed together. And it felt like I was battling one thing after the other. But I'll be okay. But I'm employing the same exact plan I planned for Thanksgiving is getting employed for Christmas. So I'll be aiming for the low end of my healthy eating zone, which is 8 points less than I get on a daily basis, as the whole week progresses. So on weigh-in day, leading all the way up to Christmas Eve, I will be aiming for the low end of the healthy eating zone. And the activity points won't help me so much for Christmas Day because Christmas Day happens to be weigh-in day and everything resets on weigh-in day. But it will help me for Christmas Eve. And on Christmas morning, at some point, I'll go for another walk. There'll be some time in between somewhere where I'll be able to go for a walk and try to build up some points for the day. But the day is only one day. And so I'll spend the rest of the week going to New Year's with the exact same plan to make up for not having enough activity in to deal with Christmas Day. And that's all we can do. We can make plans and hope they work out. That was my plan on Thanksgiving. And we're going to apply it to Christmas now. And maybe we'll even apply it birthday time, depending on what we intend to do for my birthday. You know, so many of us waste so much time looking at what everybody around us is doing and somehow making that what you should have. Looking at someone else's success or failure and making that part of your journey. This behavior probably should stop more than everything else I talked about. This is one of the biggest barriers when I watch people's behavior that is out there. Their behavior is their behavior. Their journey is their journey. Your journey is your journey. For once in your life, I need you to start comparing yourself to who you were yesterday rather than comparing yourself to who somebody else is today. Because you don't know what they did to get to where they are. You don't know what they're doing right now to ruin what they are. You have no idea what place that person is in their own mind. And you're sitting here thinking about them and what they're doing. For all you know, they could be ruining themselves. And if you did the same thing, you would only do worse to yourself. So, what's the real secret here? The real secret is we made our list of barriers. We're going to work on that list of barriers by making small changes over long periods of time so that these changes can be habits and rituals that last a lifetime. That's the key to the success you're looking for. If you can make every today version of you a little bit better than yesterday, that's the key to the success you truly believe. You didn't fail yesterday. You're not going to succeed tomorrow. So stop worrying about that. Start worrying about making small changes that are going to end up lasting you a very long time. Because those changes, consistent for the rest of your life, is what's bringing the true, lasting success. Enough of watching what everyone else is doing. Your barriers are your barriers. Start working on them today. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.